What's the craziest thing a student has done to get attention? I teach high school chemistry, and over the years I've seen plenty of attention-seeking antics. Dramatic coughing fits before pop quizzes. Students fainting conveniently on presentation days. One kid even wrapped his entire leg in an ACE bandage before a final lab exam, claiming lab-related anxiety. But nothing comes close to Marcus. Marcus wasn't a bad kid. In fact, he was sharp, good grades, creative thinker, and almost too charismatic for his own good. But he lived for reactions. Laughter, gasps, applause, it didn't matter. He thrived on being the center of attention, always riding the line between funny and principal's office. One day, during our unit on chemical reactions, I was demonstrating how certain metals react with water. Basic stuff. A strip of magnesium, a beaker, some water, controlled fizz. The class was only half paying attention. Phones were tucked away, but you could tell most of them were just waiting for the bell. Except Marcus. He was quiet. That should have been my first warning. I had just started explaining the reactivity series when Marcus stood up and said loudly and confidently, "I can make a better reaction than that." The room went still. Before I could stop him, he reached into his backpack, pulled out a small plastic bottle, and, with theatrical flair, unscrewed the cap and dumped the contents into our classroom fish tank. Instant chaos. The water exploded into bright purple swirls, fizzing like soda. A cloud of tiny bubbles formed across the surface. The two class goldfish, Einstein and Curie, immediately started darting around in tight circles, clearly panicked. "What did you just put in there?" I shouted, already racing across the room. Marcus grinned. "Relax. It's just Alka-Seltzer and food coloring, totally safe, non-toxic." He was calm. I was not. The rest of the class stood up, gasping and filming, and then Einstein, the bigger of the two goldfish, suddenly floated to the surface, belly up, completely still. Every student froze. Phones lowered. A few covered their mouths. The room went silent. I was about to call the main office when Marcus stepped forward, leaned down, and tapped on the tank glass 3 times in a strange little rhythm. The dead fish twitched, flipped over, and swam away like nothing had happened. The class lost it, screaming, laughing, applauding. One kid actually dropped to the floor. I just stood there, trying to process what I had just witnessed. Turns out Marcus had been working on this stunt for weeks. He'd been staying after school under the pretense of feeding the fish, something he'd offered to do as extra credit. In reality, he'd been conditioning Einstein to respond to a tapping pattern by playing dead. He used a small food reward afterward to reinforce the behavior. He timed everything. The harmless chemical reaction for visual flair, the exact moment to trigger the trained behavior, the dramatic pause. It was elaborate, risky, and annoyingly brilliant. He still got 2 weeks of